Everyone, welcome back to another CollectA review. Today we take a look at the 2023 Ceratosuchops. This is my first review of CollectA's 2023 offerings. I ended up getting this figure from Mini Zoo. I think it retails for like $11, $12, and that's one thing I love about CollectA. Their figures are very, very easy on the wallet, and you get a nice, decent, accurate dinosaur figure. I'll leave a link down below to Mini Zoo. I ended up picking up the couple other figures from them, the Hadrosaurus and Brightstonius. I did not pick up the Sauropod. Was it Ryu-Yangosaurus? If I got that one shipped, the shipping was just as much as the figure, so I'm probably going to wait for that one to come into either Everything Dinosaur or Dance Dinosaur before I pick that one up. But I'll leave a link down below to Mini Zoo if you want to order this figure and the other new CollectA figures that they have available. And another thing about CollectA, man, are they really quick cranking out figures of newly described species. Ceratosuchops was very recently described as a new Spinosaur from Britain. Also another one, Reparo Venator. I think that's how you say that one. So yeah, two new Spinosaurs from Britain, and we already have a figure representing one of them. So anyways, let's look over the packaging. It comes in really quick, really not much of a packaging. Usually these things come in a plastic bag. You get a little tray to stop the legs from warping. Little price tag on here with the name of the figure, and really not much else. So let's pop all this stuff off and get my camera to focus on this and throw this up on the turntable and dive into this review. And here is the Ceratosuchops out of the packaging. I have to say, a really well done figure. You know, for like 12 bucks, you really can't ask for much more. CollectA, like I said, is very, very budget friendly, and their figures are always well researched, and I think this figure turned out really, really nice. Now, there's not much, fossil material of Ceratosuchops, so this is, based heavily, I think, off of baryonyx and maybe some Suchomimus in there. So, if you weren't familiar with these new Spinosaurs and you're just casually passing this figure on the shelf, you probably just assumed this would be a baryonyx figure. The Colorscape is nice and natural looking. You have a nice light gray body with black markings. You have just the littlest splash of orange on those head crests. All around, really nice figure. You also have a little bit of pink on the underside of the throat. But yeah, really, happy that, CollectA cranks out these new obscure species. They've always been great. I give us a very diverse, species list with their collections. I wish some other companies would follow suit. But yeah, really happy how this figure turned out. And now for some measurements. This figure is 9.5 inches long from the tip of the tail to the tip of the snout, or 24 centimeters, and 3 inches high to the top of the hips, or 7.6 centimeters. So Ceratosuchops is estimated around 27 feet long, or 8.5 meters. So I'll put this figure somewhere in the 1/34 scale range. And now let's zoom and take a look at some of the finer details on this figure, starting with that very baryonyx looking head. You see those horn crest are done in a nice bright orange color. Eye is painted straight black, which is pretty much standard for most CollectA figures. You do have a little bit of dry brushing of a darker gray going over this lighter gray, and a nice wash on the lower jaw to bring out all that scale detail. The teeth are painted a nice white color, and then inside the mouth you do have some bright pink paint for the tongue, back of the throat, and the roof of the mouth. It's so thin and narrow, my camera does not like focusing in on that. And on the underside right here, we do have a little bit of pink for the bottom of the throat. But yeah, a nice narrow looking, very Spinosaur looking head sculpt on here. You can even see some nice fine scale detail between those crests, and then going down to the neck, some nice scale detail all over the body. You have all these black markings that start on the head that go all the way down to just about the tip of the tail. You have even a little ridge of scales going all the way down to just about the base of the neck, going down to the very powerful looking arms. You do have the hand claws painted in kind of like a off-white color, and very powerful looking. The thumb claws nice and huge, going down to the legs. Very nice detail on the legs, some nice folds and wrinkles all around it. Very powerful looking calf muscles. The hind feet are just a little bit oversized, as obviously it's a bipedal figure, you need it for stability, but it's not as bad as last year's Neo Venator. I thought those feet were just way, way too big. So it seems like CollectA is finding a nice balance. Since they moved away from bases, I actually kind of like the bases because the feet look nice and proportionate, but at least they're making the feet a little bit smaller so they don't look as goofy. And then going on the underside, you have all stamp of what figure it is and CollectA. You do have some nice details on the bottom, and right here, there it is, that classic dirty cloaca slit. So tasty. And then going down to the tail, you have a nice thick tail base, a lot of muscle details, some more of that black markings, all the way down to the tip of the tail. So yeah, all around a really, really nice figure. It does have an articulated jaw. It can open up that wide and close, kind of flush. CollectA is kind of with their articulated jaws, and they're not terrible, but they're also not great. They're not as nice as Papo. Wow, I can't believe I mentioned Papo on the channel because they have just been pretty much nobody for the last couple years. And now for comparisons, first up here is CollectA's 140 scale human figure to see how big Ceratosuchops was in real life. And next up, let's compare it to some other Spinosaurs. Here it is with CollectA's last year Spinosaurus, which is still a great figure. I don't know, a new paper came out and changed some things about Spinosaurus. I think the trunk was a little bit shorter and a couple other things, but yeah, it gives you an idea of how big Spinosaurus was compared to some of the other members of its family. And let's see what's next. Here it is with CollectA's Baryonyx. I never picked up the deluxe version. I don't know, didn't really like the look of it, but for the budget price of the standard, I couldn't pass it up. And let's do another Baryonyx. Here it is with Safari's version, which is an absolutely amazing figure. I think it's one of the best versions of Baryonyx out there. Let's face it the other way so we can get a better look at the head of it. And let's just do one more Spinosaur. Here it is, PNSO's recently released Suchomimus. And next up, let's do a T-Rex figure because everything needs to be compared next to T-Rex. So we're going to use the Beast of the Mesozoic 135 scale T-Rex. And lastly, let's wrap up comparisons with a nice group shot of the Wessex Formation. That's the formation that Ceratosuchops was discovered in. We have, these are almost all CollectA figures. We have their Iguanodon, Mantellisaurus, Brightstonius, which is one of the new 2023 figures. I'll be reviewing that figure very shortly. I think this is last year's Neo Venator with those big, giant, goofy feet. And lastly, we have the Papo Polacanthus. So yeah, nice little group shot of this formation. And maybe next year, maybe they'll give us a Reparo Venator. CollectA's are always throwing out surprises with all the new species that they give us each year. So final thoughts on CollectA's Ceratosuchops. I think it's a great figure. It's very easy on the wallet for around $12. It's a decently sized figure, and it's around 135 scale, so it's going to fit into a lot of people's collections. The paint job is very good, nice and natural looking. It just has just the right amount of paint to make it look like a complete figure, and I'm quite happy with it. And plus, it's a newly described species, and CollectA has an amazing turnaround time cranking out new stuff, and it'll be really cool to see what surprises they have in store for us next year. Like I said at the beginning of the review, and get this figure from Minizoo, link is down below in the description if you want to order one of these or the other new CollectA figures that they have available for yourself. So that will do it for the review on Kicking It in the High Gear. I'm trying to catch up on a bunch of reviews that I've fallen behind on. I still have a couple other CollectA figures, the Hadrosaurus and Brightstonius to work on. So stay tuned for that, because some new Beast of Mesozoic figures coming in sometime next week. So I'll have reviews, early reviews on those. And as always, if you're enjoying the content on the channel, show your support by hitting that subscription button just below the video. Each subscription helps out the channel tremendously, and it's greatly appreciated. I'll see you guys for the next one.